Hello and welcome to Forward. This video will cover the details of the New York Capital Cost Tax Credit Program. This program is administered by Empire State Development and is powered by the Forward platform. I'll be going over the program details, the application process, and any required documentation for the Capital Cost Tax Credit Program. First, what is the program? The COVID-19 Capital Cost Tax Credit Program provides financial assistance to New York State small businesses burdened with a range of operational costs stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic. Small businesses can receive a tax credit of 50% of qualifying expenses, up to a maximum of $25,000 in refundable tax credits based on qualifying expenses of $50,000. So, for example, if you have incurred $10,000 in COVID-related expenses, you are eligible for $5,000 in tax credits. The minimum refundable tax credit in this program is $1,000, meaning your business needs to have incurred at least $2,000 in COVID-related expenses to qualify. We will not be dispersing cash. Instead, your approval will result in our sending you a tax credit certificate that you will use when you file your taxes. To be eligible, businesses must be in operation as of the date of the application. They must be incorporated in New York State or licensed or registered to do business in New York State. The business cannot owe past due federal, state, or local taxes. The business may not be more than 5% owned directly or indirectly by a publicly traded company. It has to be open to and or service the public. Nonprofits are not eligible. Their gross receipts must have been $2.5 million or less in 2021. It must have incurred at least $2,000 in qualifying expenses between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2022. The business must have 100 or fewer employees. And finally, it will have to be in substantial compliance and attest to being in substantial compliance with applicable federal, state, and local laws, regulations, codes, and requirements. Here are a few of the main qualifying expense categories: supplies to disinfect and or protect against COVID-19 transmission, restocking of perishable goods to replace those lost during the COVID-19 pandemic, hand sanitizer stations, certain point-of-sale payment equipment to allow for contactless payment, new construction or retrofits to accommodate social distancing, and the installation of air purifying equipment. The list of these expenses is longer, and you can find the full list of qualifying expense categories linked in the description. If you think your business meets the criteria so far and you want to apply, you must first complete the pre-screening tool. This pre-screening tool is a quick form that checks if your business is eligible for the program. The link to this is in the description below and will also be at the end of the video. After completing this pre-screening, and if you are eligible, you will then receive an email with a link to apply to the program on the Forward platform. You'll be prompted to create an account on the Forward platform, and there you will begin the application process. Completing your application in the Forward platform involves filling out all required profile details and uploading all required documents. Completing each section will save your progress, allowing you to log out and return at any time to complete your application. Now let's talk about the required documentation. After you are approved through the pre-screening tool and have logged into your application, you're then required to provide documentation regarding eligibility and the COVID-related expenses that you've incurred. You will upload this documentation to the Forward platform, and if needed, support specialists are available to help you with this process. The first piece of documentation you need to provide is evidence that the gross receipts were $2.5 million or less. Depending on the type of business you operate, you will need to provide one of the forms listed here. For partnerships, include IRS Form 1065 and Schedule K-1. For sole proprietorships, include IRS Form 1040 Schedule C. For corporations, include IRS Form 1020 or 1020-S. You will need to provide evidence of employment through an NYS-45 form. If you are an individual sole proprietor or single member LLC, you do not have to submit this form as you do not have other employees. You will also need to provide a schedule of ownership detailing the names, social security number, or federal employer identification number, and percentage ownership for all owners of the business. Next, the application requires evidence of business location and current operation. You can demonstrate this by providing two of the documents listed on this slide. These are a current lease, utility bill, current business bank statement, current business mortgage statement, business credit card statement, professional insurance bill, payment processing statement, and finally, the NYS ST809 or ST100 sales tax collection documentation. Finally, you'll need to provide proof of all expenses, examples of which are shown here. Your proof of expenses should identify the payee, the amount paid, the proof of payment, the date incurred, and include a description of the item purchased or service received that shows the amount was for a qualified expense. We recommend providing receipts or invoices as they usually contain all of the required information. Once your application is complete, you'll be able to click Submit. If your application is missing any information or required documentation, our intake specialists will reach out to you via email, phone, or text to discuss those missing details. Once your application is reviewed, you will receive a notification that your application was either approved or denied. If the application was approved, you will receive a tax certificate via email. Make sure you include this certificate in your tax reporting. With all that said, you can get started now by going to the pre-screening tool. Click on the link in the description below to get started. Thank you very much for watching, and we wish you all the best as we move forward.